Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm about 11 months from my separation, and today I'm going to talk about something that I experienced really strongly in the relationship while I'm leaving and still have symptoms of today, but that is PTSD. I'm going to share my experience, what symptoms I experienced, and then some helpful tips that I have personally used in order to relieve some of the PTSD symptoms. I am definitely not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, but I'm just here to share my personal experience. The first symptom of PTSD that I experienced, which is a hallmark of PTSD, is forgetfulness and brain fog. So I experienced this the hardest as I was leaving, and since then it has tapered down, but I still experience some of those symptoms today. Especially when I was leaving, it was the worst, and that's because the fighting really escalated and there was a lot of anxiety, which higher cortisol, it impacts your brain and you can't remember everything. Because I almost felt like this is a crazy analogy, but I almost felt like a goldfish. You know how they have like a 5-second memory? That is pretty much the state that I got into while I was leaving the relationship. And this also showed up as, me forgetting my lunch a lot of the time, not wearing the right shoes to work. If I was gonna go on a run after work, forgetting my shoes, forgetting my work badge. After the separation, when I was making new friends, there was this one time in the car when I was with my friend. She was venting to me about her partner or something. And then she brought up that conversation about 15 minutes later. And she was like, okay, so when I told you that, and I was like, I can't remember that conversation we even had 15 minutes ago. I'm so sorry. During that time, I just felt so checked out and so dissociated. And dissociation is a big part of PTSD too. So forgetfulness and dissociation were the first two clues that I had PTSD. The second telltale sign that I had pretty bad PTSD was the amount of panic attacks and derealization that I had this year, and they pretty much fit hand in hand. If you don't know what derealization is, it's essentially your body trying to protect yourself from the amount of trauma that you've experienced, and it's a way of pretty much numbing yourself out of your own reality. It feels so scary. It feels almost like you're in a video game and you're not attached to your body. I would be driving and I'd be like touching my leg and I couldn't even feel my legs. So it is not a fun feeling. When I did experience derealization, because it was such an odd feeling, then that would in turn lead to panic attacks, which really aren't fun either, but all of it stemmed from like a loss of control within my own body, and I felt like I was going crazy. If you are experiencing this, I just want to let you know you're not crazy. There's really no way to stop it, is what I learned, as scary as it is, but it kind of is just, you have to have this radical acceptance of my body's protecting me. I feel this way temporarily and I'm gonna get through it. It's not dangerous. Nothing bad is gonna happen. Your safety level is at 100. Your body is doing what it's supposed to. Your body loves you, it wants to protect you, and you're gonna make it through it. You're safe. You know how to function, and everything is gonna be okay. Going off my point about panic attacks and derealization, the most helpful thing you can do during this time is limit your caffeine intake, because caffeine is almost like adding fuel to the anxiety fire, which will just increase anxiety, increase derealization, and increase panic attacks. So if you can, take care of yourself. What does self-care look like? It looks like limiting your caffeine use and other substances that would make you feel out of your body. During this time, we want to feel the most grounded and centered and help ourselves and reduce our anxiety and come back into our bodies. I couldn't ingest caffeine until probably 8 months after my separation. That's when I started to feel more grounded in myself and in my body. When I do drink it, I think, okay, this is a treat. I couldn't always drink this, and now I really appreciate it. Another symptom of PTSD I experienced were really intense nightmares, and these happened as I was leaving, especially the nights before I left, I would have really bad nightmares. These nightmares carried on probably for about 3 months after separation, where I would sometimes dread going to sleep at night because I knew I would experience these really scary images that would stick around with me all day. I would wake up in hot sweat. I would have these nightmares, wake up at like 3 a.m. and then not be able to go back to sleep or be too afraid to go back to sleep. So when I experienced these, I would journal afterwards, or sometimes if I had them early enough in the night where I'd wake up at like 12 a.m., I would call my best friend and we would just talk until I was able to go back to sleep. But they're not fun. You can do things to help improve your sleep, but it's really your mind trying to purge your subconscious. So in the waking day, I would try as best as I can to process my thoughts, but nightmares are pretty inevitable and it's just something that you need to get through. But be gentle with yourself, journal, and hold yourself through it with a lot of self-love. Another symptom of PTSD is rumination about the relationship and about what happened to you. And it really is your body and your mind's way of trying to digest how this horrible thing happened to you and how to prevent it from happening to you in the future, which is great. But it's not great for everyday life when you are just trying to be a productive human with a job and responsibilities and maybe kids. So I'll do a separate video on the steps that I took to personally help limit rumination. We can't stop thinking about it sometimes, and maybe we shouldn't, but we can stop obsessively thinking about it in a thought loop where it's not productive anymore. One of the biggest things for me was hypervigilance while I was leaving and after I left. And this looked like constantly thinking my ex was everywhere, that my ex was almost like all-knowing, that my ex had tapped into my phone and was listening to my conversations, that I needed to lock my doors all the time, checking under my bed and all my closets when I got home. Every time I went to my car, checking the back seat of the car, and just generally feeling unsafe and on edge everywhere I went, scanning every room I went into, or if I was on a run, scanning around to see if my ex was there. A year out from the separation, I feel so much better. I'm seeing about an 80% decrease in doing that, and I know that will only decrease more and more as the year goes on. The last symptom that I'm going to talk about is overstimulation and how short my attention span has been this year. And it's going to sound crazy, okay? But because my brain is flooded with so many fight or flight chemicals, it has been hard to focus on, tasks that I need to do, errands that I need to run, and even watching TV has been hard. I think it's because of the light and the constant stimulation of the camera cutting. I don't know, but it took me about 5 months to watch TV without having a panic attack. I would mainly read books, and journal and write, which was really calming for my nervous system. I read a lot of books this year. So if anyone has experienced the overstimulation with PTSD and the short attention span, please comment in the comments, because I haven't heard anyone else have trouble watching TV. So please let me know if you've also experienced that. Thank you all for tuning in this week and listening to this very vulnerable chat about my symptoms of PTSD and how that looked for me. It might look different for you all, but please in the comments below, if you've experienced these symptoms or additional ones, please put them, and we all want to help each other. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you healing with me, and I'll see you in the next video.